What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. Thanks for spending part of your day to talk some Steelers football with us. Today, we're going to be going over the Steelers' 2023 team needs as we head into the 2023 offseason. I think before we start getting into all these cut candidates, all these different things that are going to be happening here over these next couple weeks, I think it's important to go over what the Steelers will need to address heading into the 2023 offseason. Before we get into today's show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Today we do weekly mock drafts here on the video, or here on the channel I should say, but we also have daily Steelers news and rumors content, free agent analysis, draft analysis, breaking news coverage whenever the Steelers make a cut, every time they make a trade, every time they make a signing, every time they re-sign somebody, every time they restructure somebody. We got it all here for you on the channel. So for a comprehensive Steelers experience this offseason, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. All right, so the first team need, number one, in my opinion, is I want the Steelers to go get a new franchise left tackle. For me, Dan Moore Jr. just isn't cutting it. I think he's more of a right tackle than a true left tackle. He just doesn't win his one-on-one opportunities in pass protection enough, in my opinion. So here are some options that the Steelers could potentially look at here. Number one on my list is Broderick Jones, the left tackle out of Georgia. He is number one on my list for the Steelers in terms of left tackle prospects in this upcoming NFL draft. And if I could pick anybody to implant into the Steelers offensive line this offseason, it would be Broderick Jones. I think that his mentality, somebody that's not afraid to run somebody over in the run game, somebody that gave up 0 sacks at the University of Georgia this year in the SEC, the best conference in college football. I think when you combine that with his measurables, which line up with what NFL teams usually look for in terms of arm length, in terms of weight, in terms of height, this guy's got it all, in my opinion. You know, maybe not the best foot speed out there in the world like a Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson, but I think that it's enough to get the job done, and I like his mentality. I like the fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go in the comment section right now, and if you want the Steelers to fix the left tackle position, go ahead and like this video. Hit that like button, rack up those likes if you want the Steelers to fix the left tackle spot this offseason. Okay, so next on my list, Peter Skoronski. Okay, so I think that Peter Skoronski is going to be an excellent left tackle in the National Football League. I really like his foot speed, his technique, his hand placement. Everything except for his arm length is sublime when it comes to left tackle prospects in the National Football League. Reminds me a lot of Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater is one of the best left tackles in the game. Despite his arm length, I think Peter Skoronski is going to be just fine. Wouldn't mind getting him at all. Number 3 on my list, Paris Johnson Jr. I think all 3 of these guys are blue chip left tackle prospects. Well, maybe not on the level of, say, like an Andrew Thomas or a Sewell, right? Somebody that's really, really high up there, but they are left tackle prospects that are really, really good. I think that they could go up there, and I think they'd be worth the 17th overall pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd really rather draft a left tackle than go and get one in free agency, but if they end up doing that, my choice would be Taylor Lewan. He's a bit older. He's had some really big issues with his knee. He's really had some big issues, and he's getting older, right? So will he be the same player? That is the big question. But if the Steelers wanted to go get him, they could definitely do something along the lines of a cheaper contract, maybe $5-6 million. If you take a look at his career, 3-time Pro Bowler in the National Football League, has really graded well throughout his career, except for the last couple of years because he's dealt with some injuries. Tore his ACL 2 out of the last 3 years. He's in his 30s now, so he's likely going to be cut this offseason because he's slated to make a ton of money from the Titans. They're probably not going to want to pay that. So he's probably going to be a free agent, and he has expressed interest in joining the Steelers. So I think that this would be probably the best risk for the Steelers to take if they want to go the free agency route. But if you want to go another route here in free agency, you could go with Isaiah Wynn, who's going to be probably a lot pricier, but he still has a lot of risk involved with him because you look at his PFF grade, guys, worst of his career by far, 54.6. That would have been the worst on the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line this year, but he had to play through multiple injuries. And the 3 years prior to this year, he was a really highly graded tackle for the New England England Patriots. He was a really good run blocker, somebody that plays with good technique. So it makes sense to potentially grab a guy like Isaiah Wynn, because if he hits, he's going to be a really good player, but he's going to be a bit pricey. He's going to be upwards of $15 million per season. He's going to ask for multiple years, and it's a huge risk to undertake. But if the Steelers are confident in him, I mean, they'll end up signing him, because at the end of the day, guys, the Steelers need left tackle, in my opinion, but it would certainly be a risk if you went and got Isaiah Wynn. But let me know in the comments section right now, who do you want the Steelers to sign or draft at left tackle next season? It could be anybody. It could be it could be Dan Moore Jr. If you think Dan Moore Jr. is good enough to be the left tackle of the Steelers next year, put his name in there. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video, guys. So whenever you get an ad break, just go ahead and go into the comment section, find that pinned comment. It's going to be right there at the top, and answer today's question. And today's sponsor comes to you from Fanatics, and they have terrible towels on their website, guys. Terrible towel. It's something that every single Steelers fan needs, even if you're not in Pittsburgh, even if you're not going to Acrisure Stadium for the games. Every Steelers fan out there needs a terrible towel. I have mine right here. I got it from Fanatics. It's really quick delivery times, fair prices, guys. They got a bunch of different designs too. Like they got camo here. They got a Spanish one on there. Like they got a bunch of different flavors for whatever your specific kind of flavor of terrible towel is. So go ahead and go to chatsports.com/terrible towel to get your terrible towel today and really solidify your status as a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, number 2 on my list of team needs is cornerback. Now, we saw this year lots of explosive plays given up by the Steelers defense. It went down in the second half of the year. It was mostly when TJ Watt was out of the lineup, to be honest with you. But you take a look at the Steelers cornerback depth chart this year. You got William Jackson III. Will he or won't he come back? Will they cut him? You get to save almost $13 million if you cut him this offseason. Levi Wallace, you can save a little bit by cutting him as well. Ahkello Witherspoon, someone that's been good in some past years but was awful this year, dealt with some injuries. And then will they bring back Cam Sutton? There's a ton of questions surrounding this cornerback room, but here are some potential options that they could go after this offseason. Jalen Ramsey, if they really want to make a splash, guys, they could potentially make an offer to go get Jalen Ramsey. We covered that kind of scenario earlier in the week where I projected a trade Jalen Ramsey and Van Jefferson for Deontay Johnson and Alex Highsmith. That would be a blockbuster trade, one of the biggest trades in Pittsburgh Steelers history. But if you don't want to kind of give up Deontay or Alex Highsmith or some of those big name players in order to go get somebody, you could sign James Bradberry in free agency, somebody that's more of a zone corner than a man corner. So I don't know how well he fits into the Steelers' overall scheme, because the Steelers like to do a lot of man match stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Probably going to be pricey, really good corner, but we'll see on that front. But he's probably the best cornerback in this free agency class. You got Shaquille Griffin. You could probably trade for him for a 7th-round pick because he's currently a backup for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he's someone that's played as a good starter in the National Football League before. So if you want someone like that, you could go get that guy, or you could draft somebody. I've mocked Christian Gonzalez to the Steelers in one of my mock drafts so far this year. I think he's a really good player. He's the number 1 cornerback on my list right now. And then also Devin Witherspoon, someone that's a bit more. Right now he's ranked 35th on the consensus big board, so a 2nd rounder. But I think come April, he's probably going to be a top 10, top 15 pick. Somebody that's a really, really good player. So there's lots of options if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers at cornerback. You could bring back Cam Sutton. You could bring back Levi Wallace, Ahkello Witherspoon. You could bring back whoever you want. Then you can also draft somebody in the early rounds to kind of supplement. So I think there's a lot of options for the Steelers at cornerback this offseason. I think no matter what, they're going to get what they want, which is a good thing if you're Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan, the GM. All right, guys, go ahead and interact with me. You got a question about the Steelers, about the draft, about free agency, you got an idea you want to run by me, go ahead and interact with me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Jack_Sperry on Twitter, and then I am at sparedog.football on Instagram. I check my DMs and my messages regularly. So if you follow me on these platforms, guys, send me a message. I will give you a response. I love talking Steelers with you guys. So go ahead and interact with me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry and on Instagram at sparedog.football. Number 3 need, it's definitely a big one here, inside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need to address it. There's a lot of different things that are going to be going on. Myles Jack, will he be coming back? Won't he? All these different things. He could be cut coming up here. Robert Spillane is a free agent. Devin Bush is a free agent. He's likely not coming back. So it's looking like that the inside linebacker room is going to be looking a bit different for the Steelers as they move into 2023. I am in favor of bringing back Robert Spillane just because, they could bring somebody back. Myles Jack, I wouldn't mind bringing him back either if he can make the money work, but he is slated to make like $11.5 million, which is a really premium price for a linebacker, and he just didn't play or didn't grade very well for the Steelers in 2022. So I'm looking at this, there's not a whole lot of great names listed here, lots of free agents that are coming up, lots of cut candidates, so it's going to look a lot different, and here are some options that they could use to address this need here. Tremaine Edmunds is the big name that everybody is talking about. Everybody wants to add Tremaine Edmunds, okay, from the Buffalo Bills. He's going to be probably costing upwards of $15 million. And for an inside linebacker, personally, I think that's a bit rich. I think other free agent options that are available for the Steelers, they're going to be cheaper and they're going to be just as, if not more effective. TJ Edwards from the Eagles, really, really good player. And same thing with David Long, someone that a lot of NFL fans, the lay NFL fan, if you will, doesn't know David Long's name, but he's a top 5 grader in the National Football League at the position. He's only going to be signing for maybe about $6 million this free agency period. It's good. I think that would be a heck of a lot better option than going and paying 15 for a bigger name like Tremaine Edmunds. And you could also go into the draft, someone like Drew Sanders early maybe in the second or third round there, somebody that's a really great blitzer. Really think that Mike Tomlin's going to like what Drew Sanders brings to the table, or Cam Jones. I had the Steelers taking Jones in my mock draft 2.0 in the 4th round. I think that he's someone that's dealt with injuries, but I think he's a violent hitter. I think he plays with the right kind of mentality. He's someone that you can trust on the football field. I think that he would be a good fit as well if you want to go linebacker in the later rounds of the draft. So what do you guys think? What is the Steelers' biggest positional need heading into the 2023 offseason? Is it left tackle? Is it inside linebacker? Is it cornerback? Is it something else? Let me know in the comment section what you think right now. Number 4, nose tackle. So we've talked about this a lot on the show. Tyson Alulu, Montravius Adams, maybe the worst pairing of nose tackles in the National Football League last season. And, the options in terms of replacing them aren't exactly abundant. You could go and get a guy like Linval Joseph, someone that's been a really good pro in this league. He's a bit older, but he's someone that could be a really good mentor if you wanted to draft somebody like a Siaki Ika in the 2nd round, maybe at the 32nd overall pick. Somebody that's going to be a wall in there for your run defense, someone that's going to be able to really do some good things and wall up for your run defense, I should say. Another guy, Mazi Smith from Michigan, I had him mocked to the Steelers in my 2.0 mock draft, and this is a position that's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers do, because analytically, it's not a super important position, but as Steelers fans, we know nose tackle, especially in those base formations, is going to be super, super important for the Steelers run game in 2023, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. And number 5, strong safety. It's looking like that the Steelers are going to re-sign Terrell Edmunds. It seems like Terrell Edmunds wants to come back. He wants to be a Steeler. He's got great chemistry with Minkah Fitzpatrick. And right now, it just makes the most sense to bring a guy back that has that kind of chemistry, that's worked in this defense before, that's an excellent blitzer. He's scheduled to be a free agent this year. I'm sure he's going to be fielding offers, see what he can get on the free agent market. But it seems like the Steelers and Edmunds mutually want to come back in 2023. He's a prime candidate to be re-signed this year. So if he leaves, it's definitely a big need, but I just don't see him playing with anybody else in 2023. I think at the end of the day, the Steelers will address this need by re-signing Edmunds this offseason. I think that this one is an easy one. I'm a big fan of Terrell Edmunds. I know some fans really don't like him for some reason because he's not great in one-on-one coverage, but at the end of the day, guys, he's a good player. He grades well, and you can get him for a pretty cheap contract, in my opinion. So some other things that the Steelers could add this offseason, another slot wide receiver wouldn't be bad, right? Calvin Austin III, you hope he works out, but he's unproven. proven, and if he doesn't work out, then what next season, right? Another edge rusher would be really nice. You got TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith locked into those 1 and 2 positions, but, adding another rotational piece to give those guys a break on third downs and stuff like that would really be nice as well. Another interior lineman wouldn't be terrible. Kevin Dotson and Mason Cole had their moments of not so great football, let's put it, in 2022. So it'd be nice to bring someone in to kind of be a developmental piece, maybe later rounds in the draft, maybe. And then backup quarterback. It's looking like Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph will be out the door eventually this offseason. So you got to find a new backup quarterback for Kenny Pickett. It'll be interesting to see if they go the veteran route, the rookie route, drafting someone in the draft, undrafted free agency. It'll be really interesting to see what the Steelers do in terms of their backup quarterback. But that'll do it for today's show. Appreciate everyone that makes it to the end of the video. It really does help put our videos in front of new audiences, new Steelers fans, so that we can grow and build this awesome community that we have of awesome Yinzers in the comment section. So go ahead and type Yinzer for life if you made it to the end of the video. We really appreciate you here at Steelers Talk. That'll be it for me today, guys. My name is Jack Sperry. This has been Steelers Talk, and until tomorrow, guys, peace.